everyone. Welcome to Thursday night's Case the Catty. My name is Erica. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Canada. And I welcome you. If this is your first time, please say hello and maybe where you're from. It's always interesting because, you know, these Facebook Lives, boy, oh boy, they go all the way around the world. So welcome. Tonight I am casing a card from one of our online exclusive products. I'm using a whole suite of products called the Floral Charm Suite Collection. Now, you may have seen this around the web if you're an avid Stampin' Up! Lover of all things, then you may have already seen projects made with this beautiful suite. And I'll have to tell you, to be honest, I mean, I have a lot of floral suites, so I tend to try and not buy them all. And this one I didn't buy right away. I waited and waited, and then I just kept seeing these absolutely beautiful papers and beautiful projects. So of course, you know, in the cart it went, and yeah, I have it now. And usually with a suite, I buy the whole thing. In the past, I've purchased a suite is a whole bunch of products. It's usually a stamp set. It's a set of dies. Maybe it's an embossing folder or a punch. Very often it comes with beautiful designer series papers, sometimes 6x6, most often 12x12. It will come with perhaps a set of embellishments or some ribbon. So it's a whole suite of products that all coordinate really, really well together. And in the past, I may have just picked the stamp set, or I may have really liked the ribbon and only bought the ribbon. And then as projects come on board and you see them in Pinterest and in YouTube, you go, you know what? I should have bought the whole thing. Or even as I'm designing, I go, you know what? I should have bought those embellishments because they would really go well with the ribbon or whatever. So when it's a suite, I just buy the whole thing and I never regret it. I usually use everything in the suite, not on every project, but at least you've got those options there for your designing. So I'm going to turn the camera down now to go down to my desktop. I'm going to show you all the products in this suite so you can have a little look-see. So I'm just going to bring my desktop to center stage. I'm going to lower my camera down and show you what I've got here. So when I get a suite of products, I go to the online store and I pick the suite graphic, and then I write down here all of the products in the suite. And I also like to make a note of all of the different colors that are in the designer series paper, so I know what cardstock to pull out, or other colors, ink pads or re-inkers or whatever. So I always put the colors in here. So this picture shows the beautiful 12x12 paper, the stamp set. Then it always shows the dies. So these are the set of dies. And there's some very interesting dies in here. There are dies, outline dies that cut out a stamped image. And then there are full dies that just cut out the whole thing. And it's included some little embossing marks on there, so it gives it some dimension. Here are the embellishments here, and here's the ribbon. But I'm going to show you this stuff up close just so you can see it better. So we'll start with the stamp set. This is this beautiful stamp set here. And it's got some nice greetings. It has, let me just pull my other light forward here. So we've got this, thanks for being you. Happy birthday. It's a beautiful font. And this is a mixed font. I love stamps that have mixed fonts. Can't wait to see you again. You made my day. And hey, just a simple hey. Could be, hey, thanks for being you. Hey, you made my day. Hey, can't wait to see you again. Or hey, happy birthday. Whatever you want. And then you've got this beautiful, beautiful image here. Now, this image is a simple line image. We call these line images. So you do all of your coloring in here, and it doesn't really show you any shading marks. When you look at other stamp sets that Stampin' Up! Develops, they often will have little shading marks in here so you know where to apply a bit of a darker color to create some shadow. So these are going to be fully colored, or you could emboss them, or you can stamp this on a colored cardstock. Okay, and we'll see what the dies do, and we'll take a look at the paper as well. So this is it. It's a no, it is. Oh my gosh, I should have looked at this earlier. I'm going to work without stickers tonight, but it comes with a sticker sheet. and it comes with the rubber stamps here. So I might just show you, I like to show every now and then how I apply my stickers. I like to use my stickers, so I might show you how to do that. So we'll finish off seeing all the products, and then we'll come back to that. So there is the stamp set. Here are the dies. Okay, so this stamp and this stamp have dies. These outline dies, we'll cut these out. And there's also an outline die here for this set of leaves. So the 3 images have die cuts. And then there are some spectacular leaves. There's a whole beautiful floral, this same image, but it just, well, we'll see what it does. I'll cut it out just so you can see. And then we've got this absolutely stunning rose here. And then we've got some more leaf stems here. Okay, now to the paper. Oh, here are the embellishments. So the colors are, I believe this is Pretty in Pink. This would be your Berry Burst, or it could be Magenta. They don't put the colors on the gemstones anymore. They used to years ago, I think. If I remember correctly, they did. But they don't have them on here. So I'd have to look them up just to see what the colors are. And this could be Night of Navy. Well, let's just take a look at what colors are in here, and maybe I can figure it out from that. So always on the back, you get this cardboard sheet, and then you get your colors of what are in the paper. So I think this is Night of Navy, because that's in here. And then this is probably Berry Burst. And then this is probably, oh, they don't have a light color in here. Yeah, Berry Burst, Blackberry Bliss, those are dark, Mossy Meadow, dark, Night of Navy, Pretty Peacock, and Timid Tiger. So, but there is this pale, it could be a Petal Pink in here. I don't know why they didn't list that color on here, unless it's the Timid Tiger, because it's kind of an orangey color. Maybe that's what that's supposed to be, but it doesn't look like Timid Tiger to me. So I'll have to suss that out and see what it is. Anyway, 2 sheets of each always in our 12 by 12. This is just a stunning, stunning floral display. And then when I pop it over, you've got this Lost Lagoon in here. No, Pretty Peacock. Sorry, this is Pretty Peacock. So that's one of the colors in here. Then you've got this absolutely gorgeous floral again. And you want to watch how the direction of the paper goes before you start cutting. I always mention that when I'm doing my videos. And then you've got your Berry Burst, just a beautiful kind of a washed look on there. This is very, very pretty. The colors in here. This is Timid Tiger. It's kind of an orangey color. You've got your Mossy Meadow, and you've got your, sorry, what was that blue again? Oh, Night of Navy. Yeah, Night of Navy in there. Beautiful, beautiful color combination. And what's on the back? Oh, this is pretty. This is Timid Tiger. Yeah, it's kind of an orangey, peachy color. That's very, very pretty. And then we've got this one, Timid Tiger, with your Berry Burst and your Mossy Meadow. So beautiful. Love these papers. That's what attracted me to this set. And the back, Mossy Meadow. Beautiful. This is pretty. I'm not disappointed in any of these papers. Sometimes there's a paper that you go, not so sure. Excuse me, but this pack looks beautiful. Berry Burst, Night of Navy, Pretty Peacock. Yeah, gorgeous. And then we've got the Night of Navy on the back. So it looks like there's 2 or 3 prints that actually have a print on them. I should say 2 or 3 pages that have prints on the back. Otherwise, it's just kind of like a wash. So that's very pretty. And last but not least, check this one out. Absolutely stunning. Now, I've seen Stampin' Up! Come out with that flower before. That looks very familiar. I can't think of what the flower is. The one thing I really wish, and I hope Stampin' Up! Is listening, the one thing I really wish Stampin' Up! Would do is when the designer designs a stamp set, I wish they would say what flowers they're designing. Because it would be really nice just to learn more about gardening. But look at this. This is Mossy Meadow and Pretty Peacock together. Look at that. That's just beautiful. Okay, and then the back, we've again got our, looks like Blackberry Bliss. Is that Blackberry Bliss? Why am I not remembering my colors tonight? Yeah, Blackberry Bliss, just a gorgeous color. So anyway, those are all the beautiful papers. They don't disappoint. If you like flowers, they're just stunning. Now, which card are we making tonight? So when you go online, a lot of people are saying, well, everything should be in a catalog. Well, Stampin' Up's just not doing that anymore. They have 3 catalogs a year, but they want to produce new products throughout the year, which is great. It refreshes the line. It gives you more options. And so the designers still design photo layouts for the online catalog. And so I go online, I look up the product, and then I screenshot all of the projects that the designers made for that particular suite. And then I just put them in a Word document and I print it out. So I've got 6 cards here that the designers made to showcase the products. So this is the one I want to make tonight because this has a gold rose. Can't wait. It's a gold rose. All right. So we're going to take a look. Oh, one product I didn't show you. My goodness. And we're going to use it because it's on the card. Let me just grab my scissors and take this plastic backing off or packaging off. Check out this. This is stunning. It's a braided trim. It's petal pink. Yeah, there is a petal pink in here. Petal pink. So if you want to use petal pink cardstock, you can definitely add that. It's too bad they didn't actually put that on the list of colors. But it's a braided trim. It's just gorgeous. Now, with braided trims, you can cut this and you could unbraid it if you want to get some more like just string bits you could use on your project as well. So we're going to use a little bit of that too. All right, now let's find the paper. I've already got my card base here. Now we're going to be using Berry Burst for the card base. I'm going to bring out my trimmer and I'm going to score this at 4 1/4 inch. That's my halfway mark of an 8 1/2 width, 4 1/4. And I'm going to make sure I just score it and not cut it. Okay. And then I'm going to bring my trimmer out again when I get to the paper. So let's just give this a fold. And I like to use my bone folder. Let's just get some stuff out of the way here. I'm going to use my bone folder here. And I'm going to give this a crease. I like to have a nice crisp edge and it helps the card lay flat. Okay, so there's our card base. Now, on top of the card base, we have this paper. So let's find that pattern. Of course, when you're doing Case the Catty, you can change it up. If you want to use a different pattern piece, then you can go ahead and do that. So this one has multicolored flowers in it. That's this piece right here. Ugh, gorgeous. Okay, let's set this paper away from my desk here. And just stick it in my photo booth. Okay. Now, as you know, you may not know, but when I have 12 by 12 paper and I typically make A2 size cards, when I go to cut my paper, I always cut my paper in strips of 4 inches. So then you can get 3 panels of 4 inches and then cut them to your 5 1/4 layer size. Okay. So this is a portrait style card. So I'm going to do 4 by 5 1/4. And it looks like it's skewed a little bit. Okay, I love skewed cardstock or paper. I love it. Skewed just means you put it on an angle. So for those of you who struggle with making sure all of your papers are straight and you're layering them on top of each other and you wanting them to be really straight, sometimes it can be a bit of a struggle. So if you struggle with that and it's really annoying, then just always skew your papers, and I'll show you what I mean by that when we get going. So I'm going to cut this to 5 1/4. So it's 4 by 5 1/4 is a typical layer on an A2 card base. Look how pretty that is. Okay, so we're going to put this on here. So this is what I'm talking about. Trying to get this with even edges all the way around can be a big struggle for many people. Trust me when I say that. So if it really annoys you, all you have to do is just tilt it a little bit. Just angle it a little bit. Make sure it doesn't hang off the edge of the paper because you want it to fit in the envelope, and plus you don't want the edges to bend. So just check all 4 sides of the card to make sure that you haven't, that it's not overhanging on there, okay? So we can just really, right now, we can just grab our, and I just put in a new refill in my seal. So I am going to put some tape on here. And I'm going to skew this. Make sure your card is opening the right way. I made a card this way the other day. Yeah, make sure you check your card opening. Okay, so I'm going to skew this a bit on here. Now, before you commit to sticking it down, I use both hands and I just check my 4 corners. There we go. Okay. So there, it's nicely angled on there. All right. Now, my pictures, you know, I don't have a commercial printer, so it doesn't print the greatest colors or darkness of colors or depth of color. It's very often faded out, so it's very, very difficult to see exactly what's happening here. But as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, we get what are called the recipes for all of the cards or projects that are designed at Stampin' Up! Doesn't necessarily tell you how to make it, doesn't give you measurements, but it will tell you the colors of this cardstock. So for example, I found out that this is a piece of watercolor paper back here. It tells you you need gold foil, and it'll tell you what ink colors you need. So it tells you the supplies you need is what I'm saying, is the supplies, is what do you need for supplies? And it will tell you that. Okay, now I'm going to be using, we're doing very little stamping here. I need the leaf stamp, and I need this leaf stamp. We're going to stamp some leaves in Mossy Meadow. Yes, of course, I took it out already. Here they are. So I'm going to put stickers on and 2 stamps. We need this one. So what I do when I'm putting my stickers on is I remove this white paper backing on all of them. I do the whole thing, but tonight I'm not going to do the whole thing because that would be a bit boring for you guys. So I'm just going to do the stamps that I need. But typically when I get a new set, I put my stickers on. But more and more and more, most of the stamp sets are photopolymer, so you don't have to put stickers on. So I forgot to check this. And I also need, so I need the flower and I need the leaf thing, the little leaf stamp. And I also need a greeting. You made my day. So you made my day. You made my day. That's this little one right here. Okay, so I'm taking my stickers off. All right, now what I do is I peel off. Now, when you look at this, you will definitely see one side, you can see the lines where the cut lines, okay? So I'm going to take this one and you lift it up, and you want to make sure when you peel it that you're getting the printed part, okay? Because this has a backing and then the label. So make sure you, when you pull it off, you're pulling off the print as well. Okay. Now, typically they have a crease in here so that you can peel 1/2 away. Sometimes the crease is vertical, other times the crease is horizontal. So that's really key. You don't peel the whole thing off. First of all, what I do is I orient it. So I take my writing face up and I orient it to the stamp. So see how this is going to fit in here absolutely beautifully. So what I do is I stick down one half and then I stick the other half down. So I'm going to peel back. I'm going to take this piece off one half. Okay, and I'm going to position it, the one that has the sticker on it still, I'm positioning it right on the stamp, and then I'm laying down the other half. Okay, now I'm going to do this to the 3, and then I'm going to peel off the second half. Okay, so I need this one. So again, I'm grabbing, so don't take this backing off. You're just going to peel off the whole sticker. And again, I'm going to orient this to the to the stamp. Okay, so I know that it's going to go on like this. Okay, it's good to do that ahead of time, know where it's going. All right, so I'm going to peel back one half, and the bottom is still on here. So now I'm going to position it in place. And once the bottom half is positioned correctly, the top half should automatically be positioned in the right spot. Okay. And then I'm going to do the little leaf one. So pull that off, figure out how it's going to fit on there. It's really worth taking your time doing this, so to make sure that your stickers are on correctly. Okay, so I'm going to take off this top half of the sticker, and then I'm going to position the bottom that still has the backing on so I can move it around, and then put the top one. Okay, so that's how I do my stickers. Now, the next step is, and I like to use my silicone craft sheet for this. What you do, or what I do, is I put my silicone craft sheet on the half that is stuck down, and then I peel this back. Now, what you want to be careful of is if you don't use your silicone craft sheet, if you peel this back and it touches this part of the sticker, it's going to stick and you will not get it apart. So you need something, it could be a piece of wax paper. You need something so that you can comfortably peel that backing off, and then you can just let it flop down. Okay, so you place the silicone craft sheet or maybe some wax paper on the part that's stuck down, peel back the other piece. You're laying it on the silicone craft sheet because it will not stick to that. And then you lay this piece down like that. And I've got one more to go. So again, I'm sticking it down on the half of the stamp that is stuck. Peel back the other half, lay it down. And that is how Erica puts her stickers on. Okay. There's lots of different ways. A lot of people have their own way of doing things. And that's the way that I like to do mine. Okay, so I'm going to take these out, and the rubber stamps are stuck in there, so just be careful when you take them out. So I need all 3 of these. They're all attached. And these rubber stamps, by the way, are made in the US of A. They are made right at Stampin' Up's factory in Riverton. All right, so I'm going to put the rest of these away. Now let's mount them on some blocks. I can use this little leaf on this block here. I'm going to stick this one on probably this one here. You made my day, and then this one will be on a bigger block. Okay, so I've got these ready. Now, okay, next step. Let's just put my stickers in here so I don't lose them. Okay, so it looks like we are going to, just going to get some white. This is our basic white cardstock, the lighter weight. We've got a thick basic white cardstock, which is good for your card bases. And this is one of the best, I think, because I've used other white cardstock for stamping and coloring, but I think Stampin' Up's is one of the best. It's super, super smooth. You can use your watercolor pencils on it. You can just do penciling. You can use your alcohol blends. Okay, so I'm going to, now we're not coloring this. It doesn't look like it's colored. It's just in black outline. So I'm going to stamp this, and we will be cutting it out. Okay, so this is my black Memento ink. And I'm going to stamp that like that. Okay, beautiful. Okay, now we're going to be doing some white embossing on some Berry Burst cardstock for the label. But let's do this green. Now I'm using Mossy Meadow is one of the greens in the paper. So let's use Mossy Meadow, and we're going to do, now is there only one of these on here? I think there's only one. Yeah, there's one leaf thing on here. So we'll put that there like that. Okay. Now you could color these if you want, but on this particular card project, they are not colored in. You could always make a second card and color them in if you want, but I'm just trying to case it exactly the way it is, just to show you. Now, there's some leaves that are die cut. They kind of look like they've been whitewashed. So it's this flourish here, I believe. Yeah, I think it's this flourish here. So I'm going to show you how to do a bit of a whitewash. So I want to do all of my stamping and die cutting and then assemble the card. So we've got that. Now, they didn't really say what color ink that was. Can we still do it in the green? Let's see. Okay, if you wanted to whitewash, I'll show you how you do that. So I'm going to grab a block. So how I do it is I grab an acrylic block and I grab some ink. I just stamp it on there and I'm picking up some ink right on the pad. You see that? Okay, now I'm going to grab my water brush. This is my water brush. And I'm just going to do a bit of white washing on here, enough so that I can cut this out. Okay. So I'm just going to squeeze my water brush to put some water. When you do a white wash, depending on the color you're using, you want it to be quite light. So I'm just going to go like this. And I don't even care that there's white bits in there. I just want to put enough on there, okay, to get this on like that, okay? So we're going to wait for that to dry. And I'm going to set this aside. I don't want to waste it, but we don't need it again. But let me just kick this out of the way because it'll dry on there. Okay, so let's close this up. Now, when you're whitewashing just on our basic white, don't go over it much at all because the paper will start to pill. Really, ideally, you should be using watercolor paper. Now, they did ask for some watercolor paper on here. Now, I actually found I still had a few sheets. This was the old watercolor paper that Stampin' Up used to sell. They now have a new one. It's called Fluid 100, so you can grab that from the store, but I still have a few sheets to use up here. So one of these sheets is going on the front of the card, and then I looked really carefully and I can see that there's some scoring on there. So before I don't know what size to cut this, but I can see there's a rose on there. So I am going to take the rose and I'm going to die cut this from some gold foil. This is our gold foil paper. We have gold and silver. Okay. Now, when you die cut with foil, you want to cut it to size of the die, because if I put this die on the gold and I run this through my machine, my cutting plates are badly scratched. So the scratches will get transferred onto the rest of this foil paper. So don't do that. So you want to always just cut the foil piece that you need, cut the size that you need, and then go ahead and die cut it. Okay. The machine has a lot of pressure and it will transfer over, right? So I'm just going to hold this on here. And then I'm just going to grab my scissors. And I'm just going to cut the amount that I need. I'll go on the back here. Okay, I'm just going to cut what I need. I'm going to bring it right to the edge as much as I can, and then I'm going to cut. Okay, so just cut the amount of gold that you need. Okay. All right, so I can die cut all of this at once. So this is going on here. The leaf is going on here. Okay, the gold, the rose is going on here. Okay, and then I need the dies for the leaf. So this is the leaf. And I am going to use my tape to hold these down, because I'm doing a lot at once and I don't want them to slip. So here's the leaf or the flower one. Here we go. I also like to take my time. Just so you know, I'm a bit of a persnickety crafter. I like to try and get things to be done as well as they can. Now this I don't really have to hold down, and this I don't have to hold down. Okay, so I'm going to go to my machine. It's too cumbersome to pull under my camera, so I just do it off camera. The majority of people have seen people die cut, so I don't need to change my mind. I'm actually going to tape this rose down, just so it doesn't shift. When you're doing multiple dies, cutting multiple dies at once, you don't want them to shift under the plate. Now, as a matter of fact, I'm going to have to cut this in half because it won't fit. So I'm going to cut this, and this water piece is not really quite dry, but that's going to be beneficial. When your paper's still wet, it will do a deeper emboss, believe it or not. Okay, so let's put that on there. Okay, and then I'm going to put this on the bottom like that. And I'm going to carefully put my top plate on top. And I'm going to run it through my machine. Okay, so we've done all of those pieces all at once. So let's have a look at this gold piece. Take my tape off. Wow. Goodness gracious. Look at that. Oh, so exciting when it's my first time cutting things or using a stamp set. So exciting. Now this is pretty intricate. So you got to watch how you do this. Now let me grab my Take Your Pick tool. It's kind of a funny name, isn't it? I wonder who invents these names. Take Your Pick. You know why what it means? Because it comes with different attachments. So it means take your pick of the attachment that you want to use. I think that's why they named it that. You want to be careful how you pull this out. It's very delicate. But there's your whitewashed piece. So when you whitewash, you get some dark pieces and some lighter pieces, lighter reflections. You see how pretty that is? Oh, you can't see it. You're off camera. Hang on. I'll pull it lower. Well, let me just get everything off here and then I can deal with that. So let's just put my dies over here out of the way. And then we've got these two here. We've got the leaves. And we've got the flower. That's the flower and the leaf. And then we've got these little leaves here. Okay. And the rose. All right, so here's the rose. And then we've got this piece. And we've got the leaves here. And we've got the whitewashed leaf set. Isn't that pretty? That is just beautiful. Okay, that's the wrong lid. This is for my water painter. Okay, let's put our card together. So I'm going to move my camera closer to my... There we go. That's better. Okay, so let's put these pieces aside. And let's bring in our card base. Okay. Oh, one more thing to do before we assemble. I'm grabbing in my scraps of Berry Burst. I'm looking for, we'll just use this little strip. Okay. So you made my day. I've got my little embossing buddy here. Always use an embossing buddy. Here's my Versamark ink. So I'm going to ink this up. And before I stamp it, I like to get I've got my white powder in this container. And I've got a spoon. So I like to stamp and then get the powder on as quickly as I can. So you made my day. And if I look at the sample, I'm going to be cutting it down quite a bit. So I'm going to put it like right here. You made my day. Okay, I'm going to emboss that now. I like to heat up my tool for a few seconds. we go. And as I was embossing, I see that Jackie has joined us tonight. You're catching me late. That's fine. Yes, look at this. Isn't it just stunning? I love it. It's just gorgeous. And if you have any of other gold papers that Stampin' Up! Has come out with in the past, like the brushed gold or antiqued gold, that would be pretty too. But that's just the simple gold. Okay, excuse me. Let me close up my embossing powder to avoid any accidents. I'm not accident prone, but I've had my fair share. Definitely. Okay, Versamark. Let's put that away too. All right, now we're going to trim this. I'm going to just pull out my little... Now, I found myself a tiny little trimmer, and I love it. I love this little trimmer. Okay, so the only problem is that they don't put a... That's why I love Stampin' Up's trimmer, because, you know, this has nothing to butt up against here. So you have to rely on the lines to line things up. So I should try and build something there. Anyway, not to worry. I can use my tape. And that should be good. Whoops. Yes, that looks good. Now, how long do we need it? Could be a little skinnier, you know, but that's going to be a bit risky. So I think I'll leave it the same length. You could cut it by hand. I'm not a very straight cutter. I don't know why. The blades are straight. I don't know why I can't cut straight, but that's just me. Okay, so we've got everything ready here. So again, let's pull out our card base. So we did a Berry Burst card base, and then this is, I cut this 4 by 5 1/4, and I put it on skewed a little bit. Now that we've got the rows and everything cut out, what I'm going to do is I need to determine the width of that watercolor paper. So I'm going to stick this in here like that. And I'm going to stick this in here. This is going to go in here like this somewhere. I might put it under. It's going to go in here like this. And then this is going to go on top like this. Okay. So the width of it, I'm going to say is, I'm going to do 2 inches. Okay. Now I have a piece. What did I do with it? Here's the watercolor paper. So I'm going to cut this to 2 inches is the width. I think 2 inches will be fine. So 2 inches, and I'm going to cut it to, let's see, where's a pencil? I'm going to cut it to about here. Okay. So let's cut this down to here. Now, what I see in the picture is they have actually scored around the edges here just to give it some dimension. So I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to move this. I'm just going to line my paper to this outside edge of the track. Okay. So I'm going to line that up to the outside of the track, and I'm going to bring my scoring blade and I'm going to score it. Now this is watercolor paper. You can probably press down fairly hard. Then I'm going to turn it. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line it up with that outside edge and score it. And then I'm going to do it on this side. So this is creating a little frame around this piece. Now, camera is not going to pick this up, but it's beautifully framed now. Don't know if there you can see at the top. Can you see how it's framed? It's framed all the, let's see, yeah, the camera's picking it up. It's framed all the way around. So that's a way of adding some dimension to your card. And another thing, if you wanted to, you could do a bit of a wash on the back of this. I did see in the instructions, they had a bit of a wash on there. So we're going to do it, and I'm going to do it in a pale pink. Okay. Now I brought in, this is why it's good to buy reinkers. They're not just for, re-inking your stamps, but they can also be used on your blocks as well. So a lot of people paint with these. So they just, and some people don't want to muck up the lid, because in the old ink pads, we used to have, well, it was the same sort of build, except that you were able to squeeze the pad. So you could squeeze the ink and transfer the ink into what I call the palette. But they don't squeeze much. They don't squeeze. They're not as squeezable. So you want to just put a few drops of reinker in here if you want to use your palette. Some people don't like it. It gets really mucky and ugly if you're a bit of a neat freak. So you can just use an acrylic block, a clean acrylic block, and just put a couple of drops or one drop on here. We don't want very much color. And then you do the same thing. I'm going to grab my water painter. Now, I was using green before. I've got some paper towel here, and I'm just going to squeeze out. I want to get rid of that green. I want it to run clear. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to squeeze a bit of water on here. And same thing, I'm just going to, and you'll notice that when you use watercolor paper, you don't have to worry about the paper pilling. Okay, I'm just doing a light little wash on there. Let's just clean this out. Oh, I'm trying to put it in the top. Silly me. Okay. All right, so we've got that done. Oops. All right. We have to wait for that to dry a bit, I think. Okay, so here's our card base. We're going to put this on. You know what? I'm going to bring in my heat tool just to dry that a little bit. Okay. All right, so we're going to glue this on here, and I'm not going to put it in the center. So this is going to go on first, and I'm just going to bring in my Tombow glue. Throw that on there. This is what I would call a stepped up card, or what they commonly call avid card, for people who are, you know, seasoned stampers. They may do something a little bit more complex. Okay, so we're going to be gluing this on. And we're going to glue this on. So let's just start doing that. Just a little dab of glue. So this is going to go, say, right here. and it's going over the edge of this center panel. Then we're going to glue this one on, and this is going over, say about like that. I think I want to hide this stem here. So let's just put a little dab. Oops, that's a lot of glue. Okay. I usually pull out my tweezers for this kind of work. That's okay. So I want to cover that stem. Okay, and I'm just going to grab it's always good to have lots of scrap paper around. This is actually another sheet of watercolor paper, but that's okay. Okay, and then we're going to put this on. Oh, we're going to do the rose first. Now, I think with the rose, I think, is the prominent feature of this card. So I think I'm going to put it up on dimensionals just so it has, so that its head is proudly displayed. Oh, I don't want the little ones. I want the bigger ones. Here they are. Okay. So we're going to pop up the rose. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue. Okay. All right. And it's a little bit tilted, like so. Okay, and then we're going to put this on. Now, okay, so here's the greeting. So the card shows the greeting is on here. And it's covering up this flower, but I think I want this flower to sit on top of that like that instead of, okay, and I'm going to do a little bit of a, I love making angle cuts. Okay. So I like angle cuts. Now we've got some ribbon under here too. So this is going to go on here like this. The stems show through underneath, and I'm going to want this on top. I've just decided that I want that on top. Okay. And I think this strip can be on dimensionals, but I've got some ribbon underneath. Okay. So let's grab our ribbon. It's really quite thick, you know. Now it's got some tape on the end because I think it frays quite a bit. So let me just cut this off and throw that in the garbage. So what I want is, I want some ribbon underneath here. Now, what's the best way to attach this to this? I'm going to cut this a bit because it's bending. So I'm going to attach this to here. So I think the best thing to use is our tear and tape. So I'm going to throw, now, which is upside down. You made my day. Yes, be careful. I want it like this. I'm going to throw this tear and tape along the bottom edge of the greeting. Okay. And I'm going to burnish that glue in. And then I'm going to take off the tape. Let's hope I did that the right way. Yes. And then I'm going to grab, oops, this. And I'm going to cut it about like that. Actually sticks out a bit at the end. Now, if you want to fray the edges, you can. You can open this up and fray it. So I'm just going to stick that on there so a little bit shows underneath it and press down. So there's your ribbon on there. Okay. Not ribbon. What do they call this again? Trim. No, where is it? Braided trim. It's not really ribbon. Okay. So we're going to put this on. Yeah, let's put this on dimensionals. I'm going to use my mini dimensionals on here. Actually, I can use the big ones because I think they'll fit. I don't want to put them on the trim because that's too thick. So they'll just fit on here like that. Okay. So pull that off. And then I'm going to stick this on. I want my little stems to show underneath it. I want this overlapping. Okay, that's pretty good. And then this is going to go on top. And I'm going to put some dimensionals, just one dimensional here. So this has to be raised up, but then I'm going to just put a bit of glue on the bottom because this is already raised up. So you're trying to match the height. So I'm going to do this like this. Okay. Oh my gosh, it is coming along and it's looking great. All right. What do you think, Jackie? Okay, and we also have some gems on here for our finishing touches. Here they are here. So let's open this up. Now, some people are interested in different storage ideas. So I'll tell you what I do with my embellishments. When I get a new pack, the first thing I do is I mark on here where it came from. So this was online. So I go 2025 online. If it was in the annual catalog, I'd put annual. If it's in the spring catalog, I'd put spring. But this is online. Then, because it coordinates with a suite, I will then write the name of the suite. So Floral Charm, Floral Charm Suite. Okay. And then I'll look it up and then I'll put the colors on here. But I want to make sure. I think this is Petal Pink, Berry Burst, and Night of Navy. But I'll just check that. And then I put my colors on here because they don't put colors on the back. Okay. So we want, it looks like they've got Berry Burst on here. And they have large, they've got 3 of them on here. So I'll start with a large. And I'm putting this up here. And then I'm going to take 2 smaller ones. So we're putting one here. And I think I'll put one a bit lower. And then one here. I like 2 together amongst my 3. And there you have it. I am very, very happy with that. Oh, thanks, Jackie. Yeah, I think the flower on top, I don't know why they hid the flower underneath. I like it on top. So we've got some dimension on our beautiful rose. Look at that. Oh, I'm so impressed. And this, look at this paper. It's just stunning. Okay, let me just pull my face back so I can say, there we go. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed this card. I hope it gives you some other inspiration, just inspiration, skewing the designer series paper. You don't have to have it straight. Doing some color washes. What other little tips? Oh, doing some scoring around the edge of that panel. Yeah, just some ideas. And also doing the whitewash before you die cut. So you can do these beautiful green washes. I would wait till it dries a little bit more than I had mine, and then die cutting it, because then you get different coloration, right? So there you go. Thank you so much. Now tomorrow I've got a fun fold tomorrow, Friday. Most people have not been making it live, that's fine. It's the start of their weekend, but you can always watch the replay. But I love doing fun folds, and so I have a fun fold for tomorrow. Thank you so much, Jackie, for coming. Thank you to anyone else who is watching me on YouTube. Bye for now. This is the funny part when you do lives. I can't find my mouse now. Sometimes my mouse sort of stops work. Oh, there it is. Okay, end stream. Bye-bye, everyone.